the latest official Purple Skull Squad show for Minnesota Vikings fans. Tune in each week for our preview and post-game shows. Follow, share, and like this shows. Follow, share. The Minnesota Vikings travel to the Big D to play in a matchup of two bitter old rivals, invoking the memories of Tom Landry and Bud Grant, Fran versus Roger. Hold up, let's change the music to something more appropriate. Will J.J. McCarthy build on his 3-touchdown performance from last week? Or will the Cowboys and the first-ranked offense hook the purple to its 9th loss, extinguishing any playoff hopes? It's the Vikings and Cowboys. Here are the fellas to break it all down.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us and watching here on our YouTube channel. Just want to send a little shout out to our Facebook page, up to 420 members. We're increasing that quickly, and I love that and all the participation on that page. Tell all your friends to join us here on the YouTube page. Let's grow this thing. This is all about content, and you guys can create your own show if you so do wish, like Tony and I do here with the Purple Skull Squad show for Minnesota Viking fans. Just some quick notes before we get to the purple headlines of the night. The game, of course, is going to be on NBC. They didn't flex this game out, Tony, so you're going to get Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth. So
no, let me translate for you. You're going to get Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth. I'm going to get the mute button because that's the button I'm hitting, so I don't have to listen to either one of them.
Oh, then you can listen to Paul Allen do the radio, right?
My radio never goes on during a Viking game. No.
The referee and the crew for this Sunday night game on NBC will be Scott Novak's crew. They're averaging about 12 penalties a game for about 94 yards, so they're on the lower end, the lower tier. Home teams, when Novak is refereeing, are 37, 55, and 3 against the spread. So he's a visitor referee. So hopefully,
but here's a problem with that. It's Jerry Jones in Dallas.
Well, I mean, he does like the Vikings, Tony. He refed them when they were overseas at Hotspur Stadium when they played the Cleveland Browns. This will be Scott's crew's second time refereeing the Vikings this year, and they won the first time.
But that was on neutral ground.
Right. Actually,
he's going to be on national TV in Jerry's house.
But the Vikes are 5-3 when he refs since 2019. He might have a little purple underneath the zebra outfit he's got going.
Yeah, but he might also have some Benjamins in his pocket, which probably turns everything to the Cowboys.
Yes, there might be some of that. I don't know, because it seems like the Cowboys get a lot of calls. They're like the Montreal Canadiens of the NFL world.
They always have. Nothing has changed. They've always got the calls. They've always got this. They've always got that. And yes, I do hate the Cowboys.
Yes, we both do. And we'll get into that in a little bit when we talk about our fondest memories or worst memories of this rivalry. Question is out there on our Facebook page, or you can answer here on the show if you want to. I'll read them off as you give us your answer. But should the Minnesota Vikings re-sign Eric Wilson? Eric is 31 years of age. He's got 5.5 sacks. He leads the Vikings with 51 total tackles, Tony. I think let's just get some responses here really quickly, then you and I will answer this question. Christopher Lupke said yes, barring someone else overpaying. I think we all feel the same way about that. Yeah. He is 31. I'm not giving him a 3 or 4 year break the bank kind of deal. The Vikings are over the salary cap anyways. And Steve M. Ransberger said, I like him overpay, so I would try if the goal was to reach the playoffs next year instead of rebuilding. So Eric's done everything he's been asked to do. I think the way he's playing, I would see if he'll take a team-friendly 2 or 3 year deal if he wants to go somewhere else and capitalize on this, depending on where his stats end up. Well, then tip your cap and wish him well. This is the second time he's been a Viking. But I think he kind of likes playing with Minnesota, and I think this year's kind of been a rebirth for him. So I would keep him, Tony, as long as I think the salary lines up with what they're going to try to do this offseason. They got to get under the cap first.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of names being probably dropped off the roster, but he'd be one I'd try to keep if the numbers were reasonable.
I would keep him, but also pay attention to what happens with Brian Flores.
Yeah. He
'Cause
might
that's-
take
I
him.
mean,
If he goes somewhere else, he might take Eric.
I mean, I'd re-sign him. I wouldn't break the bank for him. He's 31. I'm not going to overpay for him.
Right.
But I'm also going to pay attention because Brian Flores has a system that works for linebackers, and it shows with Eric Wilson. So, I mean, if Flores should get another DC job somewhere or a HC job, he's going to raid this Viking team for.
Well, we know Theo Jackson will be.
Yeah.
Theo will be following Brian Flores.
Yeah, I wouldn't. And
best chums.
And what's his name? And the person brought up Ivan Pace. Wouldn't shock me if Ivan Pace ends up with Brian Flores.
Right. He's just so undersized. It's so much nicer seeing a big linebacker like Eric Wilson there instead of Pace, who just can't keep up with players. He's too undersized. I admire Pace's courage and his speed ratio, but he just gets blown up too often. I mean, someone gets their paws on Ivan Pace, he's going to get pancaked, pushed to the side. And that's why we've seen the Vikings give up a lot of yards running-wise early in the year, Tony.
Yeah, and plus he was earlier in the season, he was shooting the gaps and teams were running.
And he wasn't shooting the right ones.
He wasn't shooting the right gaps. So
that Atlanta game, that was embarrassing. I almost felt bad for him when he hit the wrong hole. And that's Bijan Robinson. You can't hit the wrong hole when it's Bijan Robinson. You can't. That's
the only bright spot with the Falcons this year is Bijan Robinson.
That's about it. And now with Drake London out, I know your girlfriend is probably in mourning. It's been a long year for the Falcons. A disastrous year. Penix is hurt again. I mean, that's a big one. Yeah. A lot of crying down there in Atlanta.
Yeah, you talk about that draft class now from last year with the quarterbacks. JJ was hurt. Penix is hurt. Daniels is hurt.
Yeah, Daniels hurt again. He will be missing this Sunday. The elbow re-aggravated, which, when you look at that, he
should not have been out there.
What is Dan Quinn thinking? And people are joking, but is it a joke? They're comparing this to, is this RG the third?
Is this an RG3 scenario?
Yeah, RG3.
It could be. It really could be. But first of all, you shouldn't have put him back out there.
No, he shouldn't have played at all.
No, and then he aggravates his arm, which, you're a football player. You're going to try to make a tackle. You're going to get blocked. Yeah. And players know this, and he lands right on that arm.
Oh. It's just one of those years, listen, there's no excuse that the Vikings also had so many injuries. A lot of teams have injuries. It's always the next man up, but there's just been something way off with Washington and, with Minnesota too this year. These are two teams, we said it last week, that were the darlings of the NFL last year. I mean, the Commanders made it to the NFC Championship game and the Vikings were 14-2. I mean, so both teams were red hot. Both teams.
We got an idea what was wrong with the Viking team. We've got a glaring idea. With the Commanders, I think it's the same thing, but it's on the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
And it's like I said before, Cliff Kingsbury now has turned into KOC. So
pass happy.
So, I mean, it's, every year is different in the NFL. And
it changes, no doubt. We'll see hopefully, Kingsbury, hopefully KOC is going to show us that he's realizing got to run the ball more. They did last week. Let's see what they do in Dallas. Dallas's statistics, they're 28th on defense, and they give up a lot of yards on the ground. So Vikings.
But see here, now this is where, if you had a Zimmer, a Denny Green, even a Mike Tice, they would pound the rock.
Yeah.
But like I said last Sunday, KOC cannot help himself.
No, he can't. He's going to take shots down the field.
Yes. Yes.
And it's going to probably put JJ in some precarious situations. But I think if JJ plays with that confidence, we're going to talk to him about him here on the headlines in just a second. If he takes what he grasped and they simplified it, go to your first read, and JJ went to his little funky throwing motion. So whatever they told him to do previously, he's back to throwing it the way JJ threw it at Michigan. Hey, he threw 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
I mean, granted, Dallas.
Let him play it out. You work on all that other stuff in the offseason, and help
Granted, Dallas is not Washington. Washington's defense is really bad.
They're horrible.
But Dallas's defense ain't
They've
much
gotten better. They've gotten a little better, but they're still susceptible.
They got a pass rush now with Quinn and Williams.
They do. And,
So that's
when
where
Kenny Clark sees purple, we know that he gets very excited to see the Vikings. So,
and we've got, I mean, this will probably be the second week now that the starting 5 that we had intended to have start is starting another game.
that is fantastic. That could be what the Vikings need. I mean, listen, they're not making the playoffs, but they're still alive. I mean, they need like 800 things to happen, and they need to win every game.
You know what? Play spoiler. Because
Yeah,
right now you've got Dallas.
Bring Dallas down with you. Bring Dallas into the not going to be going to the playoffs.
You've got Dallas on the bubble now, trying to make the playoffs. The Giants are probably just going to play out the string. There's a possibility you can win that one. But your last 2 games are against division teams in Detroit and Green Bay.
And you know what? Green Bay and Detroit, they're going to be playing for something to stay alive. Detroit especially.
Mm-hmm.
You get to play the ultimate spoiler. And that in these when you're playing division games, throughout the record, because you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to our purple headlines of the night. I'm going to start with a college football headline here, Tony Bell. Michigan fired their head coach, Sharon Moore, after just 2 years. He had an 18-8 record, which, you know what, is respectable when you're in places that aren't Michigan or Ohio State or Alabama. That will get you fired when you're at Michigan and you don't make the playoffs for 2 straight years. I mean, he did beat Ohio State.
He only beat Ohio State once, though.
Once last year, he beat them.
Yeah.
But Ohio State went on to win the national championship anyways. So, I mean, Michigan has a vacancy for head coaching position. I'm sure one of our fine part-time owners will be looking to recruit. Who knows who he might? Maybe Flores will go to college football. Who knows? I mean, it's a head coaching job. Could it be? I mean, John Gruden. Hello. I would hire him because did wonders for Jim Harbaugh. And he got back into the NFL pretty quickly.
Where is Chip Kelly?
He is looking for a job. That would be an interesting choice. He got fired by the Raiders, so he's out. He's available.
Yeah,
he's there.
Wouldn't that shock me if he ends up in Michigan?
No, and that would certainly help their offense. Their offense was terrible under Coach Moore. So, some NFL updates on injuries for the Vikings. Nothing big. Looks like the Vikings will have most of their big-time starters playing. There is some concern with safety Theo Jackson and defensive lineman Levi Drake Rodriguez. Both are suffering from neck injuries, excuse me. And running back Ty Chandler out. I didn't even know he played last week. But
what did he do? Did he stub his toe in warm-ups or what?
But it's just been a disaster. Ty's got to go somewhere else and rebuild that whole thing of his because it's just not going to happen in Minnesota. In fact, that led to the Vikings working out, Tony, a couple CFL guys yesterday and a bit today. They brought in former South Dakota running back star Travis Thies, who rushed for over 3,600 yards at South Dakota. And then they brought in a guy that I know Fournier was very excited about, Trey Vaval, V-A-V-A-L, from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Apparently, Trey has 4 special teams return touchdowns. Now, wouldn't that be exciting if Miles Price is progressing the way he is, and then you can bring a Trey Vaval in, and he becomes explosive returning kicks or punts since Ty Chandler can't do it? It'd kind of be like that Cordarrelle Patterson and Marcus Sherrill thing we got going. That would be nice because that's where those points are killers when you get them off special teams. And it's something that the Vikings haven't really had in a long time, Tony.
They haven't had good special teams coordinators. That's one thing. So
that might be something that this offseason changes too.
That could be we're going to have some coaching changes.
Offensive line, special teams. There's going to be something.
If one of those two or both of those two are retained, I will be shocked, but I won't be surprised. But then the criticism is warranted if they are.
True. Very true. I love talking about J.J. McCarthy. You know that. It was great to see what he did last week. It's been a horrific season for him, really, so far. But
by the way, it's not his fault.
Not his fault. We know that. We know that for a fact. That it's amazing when Coach O'Connell simplifies his playbook. or doesn't even give the quarterbacks a play what actually happens, right? It seems like these quarterbacks seemingly do better without the crazy over analysis, over check down, call the play, audibilize to it on the line, get your players in order, simplify, quick one read, let's go, simplify it. It worked
And
last year.
that all starts with your in our case, the head coach / play caller who, okay, granted, he's had veterans. He's had Darnold, he had Cousins. Those guys are veterans, so they've seen it all. So they can work within that diameter of his playbook. The problem is when you've got a Josh Dobbs who plays a different style of football, when you've got a Nick Mullins who hasn't played any football really, and when you've got a JJ McCarthy who is the future of your franchise, you've got to put something together that works with their skill set.
And that's also letting them loose, let them run.
Yeah, let them make plays.
Yeah.
You want to, if the name of the game is winning the game, you let your quarterback make plays with his feet as much as he can, but you also put him in positions where, yeah, he's going to have some learning curves, but you try to make it as less painful as you can, which KOC did not do this year.
It kind of complicated things. Well, after the game, we heard Drew Brees talk about how ultra efficient JJ McCarthy was, and really he can't believe that this team's 5-8. If JJ played like that, they would certainly be a lot better. And then Kurt Warner on the Vikings Entertainment Network had this to say about JJ McCarthy.
The more he can slow things down, obviously, the more that coach can call plays that get his first guy open. But the more he can slow things down, be more comfortable with what he's seeing, and play the game at a slower pace when it comes time to throw it, the better he's going to be. And what you're always hoping for these young guys. And again, I know we talk about him as a second-year guy, but let's be honest, this is really his rookie year from standpoint of playing. You want to see the ascension. You want to see guys start the season somewhere and then make slow upticks along the way.
And that's what we're hoping that we're going to see the rest of the way. Again, thank you to Vikings Entertainment Network. Kurt Warner spells it out proper. I mean, if the last 3 games of the season, or 4 games, let's count the Dallas game, the last 4 games JJ plays like he did last week, ascends in that direction, the Vikings will be set at quarterback next year. They won't have to worry about a veteran quarterback, although I did read somewhere, Tony, where they might take a bargain basement Daniel Jones, because unfortunately for Daniel Jones, I mean, that is horrific, going into your free agent year and rupturing your Achilles. But the Vikings, might bring him aboard. And
why would you bring in a guy coming off an Achilles injury?
Yeah, I don't. And that's something that Daniel Jones, he's got to move out of the pocket. That's where he makes his bread and butter.
I swear, whoever put these rumors together, okay, now Daniel Jones is damaged goods. So the Vikings are going to turn around and sign somebody that probably won't play until October, November?
Maybe.
Come on.
You're right.
Whoever puts this out there for clickbait, just stop.
That's what it is. It really has to be, because
that's just asinine.
It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. The Vikings will.
You know what? Here's the thing, though. We say it's not going to happen,
but then it probably will, right?
This team has done some stupid, because nobody's going to criticize them for it. And Daniel Jones wanted to stay here, but Colts offered him more money.
Yep.
What the hell? They got 9 wins out of him.
So and without Daniel Jones, this goes to show you the dearth of quarterbacks that are out there. Although it's kind of refreshing to see him back in the league because he is fiery, he's sparky. But they turned to 44-year-old Phillip Rivers, who's been out of football for 5 years. He's got 10 kids.
Why don't they just wait and draft his son?
That could happen. He's got the 10 kids. He's got an offensive line. He's got a defensive line, and he's got a grandkid. Yeah, watch our GM, right?
Exactly, Nate. Watch our GM.
But let's listen to the hilarious take of Phillip Rivers at his press conference today.
Wait, what are you waiting right now?
Right this second?
Yes.
I'm not sure, man. How about that? That's an honest answer. I will answer the question a little better on the plane away, Greg, and not what it was when I walked up the field. I can tell you that.
But then I'll follow that up with, I ain't never ran away from anybody anyway.
There's the swagger, you know.
He's
Phillip Rivers,
first of all, he's never run away from anybody because he's too old to run, and he's
he
not that
can't run.
fast.
And 44 years old, Tony Bell, not playing for 5 years. Is it the age, or is it the 5 years that are going to catch up to him first? If they do escalate him from the practice squad, I don't know who else they have. Anthony Richardson's hurt. Riley
Leonard's hurt,
banged up. I think Phillip Rivers is going to start. I mean, they're going to call him up. So what was going to be worse for him? You played football, being 44 years old and trying to do it, or the fact that he's been out of league for 5 years?
Both.
Yeah. It's like
it's both. He's not even – they're going to put him out – he's not even game shape.
No. They're just going to put him out there.
They're just going to put him out there. You know what this is like? This is like an older version of when the Vikings put Josh Freeman out there. But I think Freeman had been in a training camp at least.
Yes, he was.
Wonder if they talked to Tom Brady.
Well, Tom is about the same age.
Tom knows better than to go to the Colts.
Yeah, Tom. That's not. At this age, Tom. If he's going to
Rivers was the last successful quarterback that the Colts. If they're going to go back to something, they could have got Matt Ryan. If you're going to go older, that's younger.
And Matt's kind of stinks on the studio show. He's but you see how skinny Matt is now though. And I saw Phillip up on the podium, and they're all joking that he might have a little pot belly. You know, that might be all the dad bods. Yes, go. But he looks thin. Like he doesn't look like he has that same mass up here. So he's thinner and he's older and slower. It just doesn't seem like this is a really great.
He's thinner. He might be thinner, but he's older.
Yeah,
and he's rusty. And these defenses are going to be coming at him fast. He's got to get quick into game mode. And you mean to tell me the Colts could not figure this out?
Yeah, Nathan was just adding a comment that he's been running this Colts system down where he's been coaching. So they figured, well, he's familiar with the.
He's familiar with it. That's fine. But, when you got a Myles Garrett coming at you.
I'm just tossing that up like turning out. Heck,
right.
I see Myles Garrett or something. I'm like, get rid of it. I ain't getting touched.
He does have Jonathan Taylor.
He does. He'll be handing you the ball off probably 60.
I would not be. I wouldn't. And you'll probably see a lot of play action.
Yeah.
Till he gets quick. Till he gets ready. But for the most part, it's going to be Jonathan Taylor and a heavy dose of it. So.
So that's our purple headlines. We thought we'd have a little fun with the old Phillip Rivers coming back.
I mean, you know what though?
People out there.
I ain't gonna say at 44 years old, he's out there.
I'm rooting for him. I'm gonna root for the Colts now because why not? Isn't that a great? I mean, they literally, Tony, are hanging on. It's just like they've had a rash of injuries that have impacted them, and now they're down to Phillip Rivers coming out from his coaching gig, son or whatever he called them.
And the Jags. You're probably gonna have two teams make the playoffs in the AFC for the
Jags
AFC.
look good.
Probably Jacksonville and the Colts.
Yep, that's probably where it is. All right, let's go around our division, the NFC North. And what a slate of games we have this weekend, minus the Bears-Browns game. But the great thing to watch in that will be if Caleb Williams can survive the below 10 to 20 degree weather coming there at good old Soldier Field in Chicago. And the Browns are going to be bringing Myles Garrett after him, looking to break the sack record. I think he needs two.
Yeah, you know what? The Bears, that whatever I think is he playing right end or is he playing left end? He's playing right end, right?
Right end, yeah. But he'll move. Okay. He'll move to whatever the matchup says.
He'll stay at right end because that left tackle is terrible for the Bears.
Now, get this: the Packers, our first place Green Bay Packers, are heading to Denver. Denver Broncos with the 11-2 record, tied for the best record in the league with the team we won't mention that plays in Foxborough. We don't need to because that will only get one person in this group all excited, and we'll probably there Drake man.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. But the Packers are actually favored, Tony Bell, at Denver. It's kind of a slap to the Broncos' face. It's close. I think it was 2.5 points. Who do you like in that one?
Denver all the way.
Yeah, I do too.
That Denver defense is no joke, people. That is probably Denver. That Denver defense is probably going to be the best defense that the Packers will face all year.
Yeah, Nathan, that Chicago win would definitely blow me away. I couldn't
Nate,
stand it.
Nate, he cannot take that. He cannot take that
Cowboys do not
temperature.
want the wind
No, he
coming
can't.
off Lake Erie there, and it's going to be superior. It's going to be nasty at Soldier Field on Sunday. The Detroit Lions might have the toughest test, I think, overall this Sunday. They got to travel to Los Angeles to take on what many people think will be the NFC representative in the Super Bowl.
I got a
the Los
question.
Angeles Rams.
Who's going to be covering Puka on Saturday?
I don't know, but good luck.
Yeah,
Good luck.
this
that
is
guy
probably
is so much fun to watch, Tony. He's so physical and makes the craziest catches. I mean, I think, unfortunately, Puka will be a guy that's going to have a shorter career because
he takes on defenders.
He just takes on defenders and takes.
So
hits.
be prepared. He will have a collision with. Is Brian Branch playing?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think so. I don't know if he's playing.
That Lions secondary is hurting.
They're hurting. They still got people off the street playing it, and somehow they're 8-5. But here's the thing with this, Tony. Matthew Stafford's going for an MVP-like season. It's really down. I think if you look at it, down to Matthew Stafford or Drake May. And don't you think he wants to put up a big performance against the Lions?
He wants to stick it to the Lions big time. He
does. And Jared Goff wants to stick it to, McVay and the Rams. So this should be.
You know what though? Now this is a difference between McVay and KLC. See, we thought, everybody thought McVay was this offensive guy, right? He's put together one hell of a defense.
Really
they're young and they get after the quarterback.
Oh, fast. Ford is ridiculous.
Yes, off the edges, they're physical.
They're very
now. This is now the Lions are going to be faced with a physical game, and they're not at home.
Right.
So
and they like to play physical, but I mean, the Lions have had a lot of injuries. That offensive line has shown some weakness. I think, unfortunately,
and Sean McVay will run the ball down their throats.
Yes, he will. McVay will run the ball, and he's got two running backs now.
Yeah, he's got Corum and Williams.
But Blake Corum has come to develop and showed us what he showed when he was at Michigan. And he's slippery, and he's smallish, and he's strong, and he's a good receiver. And
I'll tell you what. You know what?
Yeah.
If I'm looking for a running back next year, I might make a call to the Rams.
I might. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to keep Blake Corum. That's just.
You put Corum in the same backfield with JJ again?
Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. So the NFC North, we'll get into, obviously, the game we're all going to be watching, the Vikings and Cowboys on Sunday night. We'll talk about that game a little later. But the NFC North has some wonderful games this weekend. A couple of the big ones to watch. Obviously, the Packers and Broncos. I like the Broncos. Tony likes the Broncos. And I like the Rams over Detroit just because it's in L.A., and I just think Matthew Stafford
I'm taking the Rams.
Amazing season. You look at Matthew Stafford's stats, it's like, is this real? It doesn't even think. You look at that, it's like he's playing Madden on easy level. But that's the kind of year. Devontae Adams, people, is having an amazing season for the Rams. Everyone forgot about him because of his being stuck with the Raiders. But
Raiders
Adams,
purgatory.
Yeah. But a real good quarterback is really deadly in that red zone. And the Rams run the ball, throw the ball. They got it all going. Great defense. That's my pick from the NFC now. I mean, I did have the Buccaneers, but in all intents and purposes, the Buccaneers, like so many teams that we all thought would be good, right, Tony? You want to go around the NFL really quick?
Yeah.
We're the Kansas City Chiefs. We're talking about if they lose, that's the end of a dynasty for this stage of group. I mean, they might come back next year and regroup with Reed and Mahomes, but they got to replace Kelsey. I mean, it's time. They've got to get a serious running game going. And Mahomes looks older.
Here's what happens. People don't realize it. They got old. And it's quick in football. It's really quick.
We saw it with the Vikings.
Minnesota was one of the youngest teams. And then this year, they're one of the oldest. And then 09, 010, they got old again.
Really old. Quickly.
Yeah. It happens.
QC, should I start Caleb Williams or JJ McCarthy in my fantasy football? Well, we already made that selection. It's believe it or not, we're in the playoffs.
I want Tony's opinion.
We're going J.J. McCarthy. It's going to be 20 degrees minus.
Yeah, I would start JJ.
I think McCarthy against that Cowboys defense will be nice and warm down at AT&T Stadium.
And he's going to run for at least one touchdown.
I think he's going to run too, and I think that's going to be a high-scoring game because I think both defenses are just not very good. Nathan,
It is over
already
in
saying the
KC.
dynasty's over. Yeah, I mean, and
It
then the
is.
Ravens. I mean, Lamar Jackson's hurt. I think Lamar Jackson's hurt. The Ravens was my Super Bowl pick. They very well could miss the playoffs. This is a weird time where some power and Pittsburgh's fraudulent. The Steelers are fraudulent. I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
You can tell that age has caught up with a lot of these teams.
Caught up with these teams.
The youngest team out there, I think, is Denver, and look at them.
And look at Philadelphia right now.
Oh,
defending
geez.
champion Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, geez.
That game on Monday night, and then we're going to move on to our Purple Skull Squad player focus. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a worse game. I just want people to understand this. Had a lower rating on Monday night than Max Brosmer or J.J. McCarthy had in the game in Green Bay for J.J. and the game for Max Brosmer. Jalen Hurts' statistics were worse. Tony, and of course he's our fantasy quarterback, right? He is the only guy that I know that it was charged twice for -2 points. He threw an interception.
And then he fumbled it.
Yeah, he picked up the ball because it was fumbled. So I'm like, oh, we got the ball back. And then he fumbled it.
He commits two turnovers on one play.
2 turnovers. And that's
all by himself.
I mean, the Chargers didn't do anything great. I felt for Jim Harbaugh. Justin Herbert playing with a broken hand. They weren't really doing much. The receivers weren't getting open. The Eagles, that game was meant to be won for Philadelphia. And once again, this is kind of like what we've been dealing with. The defense plays really well, and then the offense, for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, but it's not good.
They don't like each other.
That has to be resolved this offseason, and they gotta move on from one of the.
Well, here's the thing now with the Eagles, like we said, they got rid of Doug Peterson after he won a Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni could be next.
If they don't make the playoffs, he could be gone.
He could be gone.
They don't win around in Philadelphia.
They do not play in Philadelphia. But here's the thing, though. I think now you got to start asking the question. You need a quarterback in Philly.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, it's crazy to think when Hurts was playing against us, right, at Bud Grant Field. He had a perfect day, right? I mean, he was just throwing these beautiful.
You know what? Who didn't?
Yeah,
who hasn't?
It's our defense, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, the Eagles, you're defending champions. I don't know. I mean, if the Cowboys,
you know what?
The Cowboys beat the Vikings and then go rolling down I would pick the Cowboys over the Eagles right now.
I can tell you right now, the Eagles are going to face the Raiders this Sunday.
Yeah, you know what?
That
the
could
Raiders
be
nothing to lose.
That could be a get well game, and it's going to be cold. So that could be
Carroll's
a
little upset with one David Portnoy who was calling for him to be murdered.
Yeah.
Apparently. So Pete Carroll will probably polish off his old coaching acumen, and the Raiders, they got talent. It's just been one thing after another with that.
Well,
team.
here's my question now: Does Pete Carroll get fired at the end of the year?
I don't know. I think if I'm the Raiders, I look for the next guy that's going to be there for. But then again, the Raiders think they got the next guy. Josh McDaniels went there. It was a disaster. They just can't have guys flourish there as young coaches. They've tried, and maybe Carroll.
Well, here's a name that pops up.
Brian Flores. Could happen. And he will.
And if you think about it, Flores would be the one. He'd be like Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
And kind of bring back that Raider mystique.
Yeah. We'll definitely have him hitting hard, and that defense will be good. Yep. That'll be a Raider kind of defense.
Which you're going to – what happens now is with that division, with the Chiefs fading, you've got the Chargers now and the Broncos. You've got to put together a defense to stop both of those offenses.
Yeah, that division moving forward is just with Seattle playing out of their minds,
Seattle's in the West, though.
West,
in the NFC.
Right. I'm sorry. I was thinking about
You're thinking the 1980s West.
The Chargers are better. Raiders are going to finally get better. Kansas City, you got to think they're going to revamp. They'll revamp that thing. and get it better. But Denver, I mean, Denver's only going to get better. Sean Payton has said this.
Yeah.
He feels his team's Super Bowl ready. And as much as I despise Sean Payton and his skull baloney, you know what? That guy coaches good football. He has tough teams. He might take it a little too far sometimes with how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
It's dirty, but you know what? It's winning football because he predicates and puts young quarterbacks, Tony Bell, which is what we've been asking KOC to do. He puts them in good situations. Bo Nix is not forced to win the game for the Broncos. He's part of a very balanced running attack, and the Broncos have 2 or 3 really good backs. And then when it opens up, he lets them take shots down the field, but he's never forced to be in a situation where he has to be the show, right? And they win a lot of games close. I mean, I don't know if it's sustainable. Kind of reminds me of the Vikings. They win a lot of these late games due to a defensive stop or a turnover. I don't know if it's gonna be this year for the Broncos, but they're very close because that defense, other than Houston, is legit. Yeah, don't forget Houston. I'm not. The Texans defense is by far the most fun to watch. And of course,
they got DeMeco Ryans as the head coach.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, Tony. You get to see Danielle Hunter still look like Danielle Hunter, and then Will Anderson's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, besides Myles Garrett. They just come at you. They don't have to blitz, Tony. Those two guys, they don't have to blitz. That means your guys are in full coverage. You can even drop back an extra, and those two are going to create the catastrophe for your offensive line. So, yeah, the Texans' defense is great. The Broncos, that's kind of scary. You know, you're the Patriots. They got the kid Drake May, but I look at these teams like the Broncos and the Texans and the defense, and you know the Chargers. I think defense has gotten better. They're not quite there yet, but it's interesting because I think defense kind of
those teams are all physical.
Yeah,
those teams are all physical, and then when you get to the NFC, there isn't really that.
No,
there isn't a physicality.
There's more offensive teams. There's just not.
Yeah,
Seattle. You know, Seattle. I'll give you Seattle. We just mentioned the Seahawks. Mike McDonald's got that team playing really good defense, and they take advantage of their turnovers because they have to, because they do turn the ball over a lot.
You know who Seattle is this year? Seattle this year is what the Vikings were last year with the turnovers.
Kind of, but they're actually a little better defensively, and that might be something moving forward that we'll see.
What, though? I don't, unfortunately, until Darnold can prove it in postseason.
It has to, the ghosts are the ghosts going to come back.
And here's the thing. They're going to be a wild card because there's no way the Rams are winning that division.
The Rams are going to win that division. But, I mean, that's where the Rams are so much the complete team because Stafford's done it. And then Devontae Adams is there, and Puka, and Seattle has obviously they got one of the best young receivers in football. There's no doubt about it. But the running game, Kenneth, I don't know. It doesn't scare me. Like they saw against the Vikings, the offense really didn't win the game. They just kind of maintained. In the playoffs, you're gonna have to win a game, and that's where the Rams have the big advantage because they have so many ways to beat you, and obviously the best offensive mind as far as calling plays, I think now in the NFL. So. Yeah, Packers defense is not too shabby either. That's for sure.
My whole thing with the Packer defense, though, you take Micah Parsons out of there, they ain't shit.
Well, we know Micah wears down because he's not as big as you'd like him to be.
I'm not impressed with the Packer. I'm not impressed with the Packer defense at all. Just they have Micah. That is their strong point. That's their Superman. But
the Bears scored on him late. The Bears had a chance in that game. I mean, Caleb Williams drove him right down the field and just made an ill-advised pass.
And then Caleb throws a Caleb pass in the end zone. It's just which is going to happen with him, unfortunately.
I'm going to ask you this, Tony. If the Bears scored there, would you have gone for 2? Because Tom Brady mentioned that in the telecast.
No, I'm gonna take it over.
Tie it, really? I don't know. On the road, I think it would have been ballsy than seeing Ben Johnson.
It would have been ballsy, but if you miss it. I'd rather take my chances in overtime and see because
the Bears defense has played pretty well too. I mean, the Bears defense.
Here's a problem. Here's the thing, though. What a lot of people don't realize. Yeah, you go for 2 for the win, which is gutsy.
Yep.
True, but if you want to play the long game, tie it up, going to overtime. Because guess what? It's not sudden death. You're going to get the ball.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. Everybody, it's not sudden death anymore.
Yep.
So everybody gets a shot at it. So take your chances.
Take your chances in overtime. I mean, we saw it in the Chargers-Eagles game. If ever a game didn't deserve to get to overtime, it was that one. I mean, they kept giving the ball to each other. It was just like, what?
I was watching a game with my girlfriend. We're on the
Oh,
phone, and she's like, "We're going to get
turnover.
overtime, aren't we?" It's like, "Yeah, we don't want overtime, and we're going to get overtime, and we
We're
got
going to
overtime.
get it. You don't want it, but you're going to get it.
And we
And the
got
game
it.
ended on an interception. So 1 of 4 for Jalen Hurts. Our Purple Skull Squad player focus has to be on this guy, and I'm going to mention him quite a lot because he's going to be your fantasy stud for the Vikings in this game. Has to be. Against the Dallas Cowboys in 3 games, Tony Bell, check out those stats. 81 carries, 376 yards. I'm not even counting the receptions now. A touchdown. And
one of those was a playoff game.
was a playoff game. The game where the Packers murdered them.
Mhm.
And 6 yards a carry for really, I think he resides in Texas now. I mean, he was born, I know, in Savannah, Georgia, and Aaron talks about moving around a lot, being part of a military family, obviously, overseas in Germany and all over the States. But he made his headway as a UTEP minor and had a huge career there. And then he was even bigger in high school. I mean, Aaron Jones is a Texas legend, and you got to give him the ball.
So
That stadium where he's going to feel really good.
Can I translate this for you?
Yes, run the ball.
All right. Seeing these numbers, it will be crystal clear. KOC will not hand him the damn ball at all on Sunday night. He won't. He will. KOC, I can tell you right now, with the success that KOC had last week with the offense that he called, he can't help himself but to go back to what he was calling the weeks earlier, which means not running the ball. So I hope I'm wrong. I don't think I am.
If they don't give Aaron Jones the ball at least 20 times, either running and / pass receiving, they're stupid.
You know what, Nate? He'll look at the stats and he'll automatically throw the ball.
Yeah. You know what, Nathan? I got to send his stats to. Let's send it today. Federal Express it to KOC's office because I mean, look at that, 6 yards per carry.
Yeah.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Yeah, and Aaron Jones Sr. is going to be able to run holes through the Cowboys defense, which ironically, he's averaging 123 versus Dallas. How many yards did the Dallas Cowboys give up running wise this year, Tony Bell, defensively?
Are they like 28?
123.
So they're like 28.
These are all numbers. They're fitting in perfectly. And the Vikes getting their referee there, Novak. Aaron Jones against Dallas. There's some positivity going here. There's some good things for the Vikings going into this, and that's our Purple Skull Squad player focus. Now, Tony, I got to set you up for the X's and O's because, again, before we get to inside the numbers, we were told by KOC he was going to run the ball. We all heard about this 12 personnel, 13 personnel. What the heck, in being the football player of this show, what is 13 personnel? Is it just putting up the big boys, 2 tight end set? I mean,
big boys, 2 tight end set, power football. In some cases, you have your wide receivers line up close. You can do that too. There's a fullback in there also. But it's basically pound the football, which we were told at the beginning of the year that the Vikings were going to do. Now, granted, yes.
Mason being part of that, that whole situation. And Mason's had a good year. I mean, he's had over 600 yards. He's averaging, 4.5 yards a carry. So, yes.
The thing is, it's like we were told he was going to run the ball. You got Kelly and Fries to run the ball. Granted, Kelly's been hurt. But like I said before, with offensive linemen in, if you want to give him some confidence, let him pound the football. Brando playing center looked pretty good running the football. It was the pass blocking that was the problem. You've got a rookie, Donovan Jackson. Let him prove his strength one-on-one with some tackles. You want to help your young quarterback. I mean, JJ worked best in pistol handing the ball off.
Yes, he did.
And that also opens up play action because doing that with the 2 tight end set, your tight ends can block and release. And that's your short pattern right there. We saw that last week with Washington, especially on the TD pass, the second TD pass of Oliver.
Mhm.
So, I mean, but KSC still has his receivers running 10 yards route. That's you got to shorten that for your rookie.
Yeah, just do some slants. Let's get
Yeah,
some slants
just
in
do a
there.
quick 5 in and out, a quick hook, so JJ can get the ball out of here, get some confidence, and just keep the positive yards moving. But most of all, Sunday, run the ball.
Run the ball.
And Dallas's
Run it
D line,
effectively. Cowboys
Dallas's
give up
D
a lot
line.
of yards to the running game. Also, what that does, Tony, and you've said this many times on the show, it makes the offensive line more confident when you're running the ball, right? And also, it keeps the number one offense off the field. You don't want to see Dak Prescott, Javonte Williams, who has over 1,000 yards, is having a tremendous comeback season.
Yeah, he's averaging 4.8 yards.
He's averaging 4.8 a carry, and George Pickens is having a ridiculous year, as is CeeDee Lamb. And the Cowboys' secret weapon is Jake Ferguson. So the Vikings got to know where Jake Ferguson is.
Which the Vikings can't cover tight ends at all.
They can't cover tight ends. So
No.
Also, I noticed that Mary Michelle let us all know that she'll be there at AT&T Stadium. She said, Skol, I'll be there. I hope that the Vikings perform for you the way that they did.
Here's a weird thing about
Commanders.
Here's a weird thing about Arlington Stadium now. That stadium's usually now 50-50.
Yeah, that's weird, right? That's well, I think it's because it's such an attraction that people want.
And I'll tell you what, I think of all the states that have Minnesota transplants, I think Texas has more than California.
More than most. So that would mean that, hey, we might see a lot of purple come Sunday.
You're going to see a lot of purple in that stadium.
It's the Cowboys and Vikings. We're going to talk a little bit about that, some old-time memories in just a moment. I got to take you in through the numbers, though, and this is going to be a bit of a process, so stay with me here. Cowboys are 6.5-point favorites on Sunday, home favorites. The money line says Cowboys are minus 280. The Vikings are plus 225. You can win some serious cash if you go on the money line and take the Vikings. We're talking double your money here, okay? ESPN has their winning percentages out. They do this. They have the Cowboys 58% to the Vikings 42%. But here are some numbers before I get to your fantasy plays of the week. And most of them are Cowboys because they do have the number one offense. Old time, the Cowboys lead the series 19-15 with a 4-3 record in the playoffs. Push off that shouldn't have happened. Drew Pearson. Minnesota is actually 8-6 when playing in Dallas, including winning the last 3 at AT&T Stadium. So the Vikings feel very comfortable down there in Big D. The Cowboys, ironically, have won their last 3 played versus the Vikings in Minnesota, which are the last 3 in the series. So the Cowboys have a 3-game winning streak going into this battle versus the Vikings on Sunday night. As far as fantasy lockups, I just told you, Aaron Jones. You just heard the statistics. Put him in your lineup. Vikings, he's in our lineup. We're going to play Aaron Jones Sr., no question about it. Expect big things from him as long as that shoulder holds up. For the Cowboys, they've got some of the highest projected performers going into this game. Dak Prescott, very high. Dak Prescott is having a tremendous season, ladies and gentlemen. If Matthew Stafford and Drake May weren't doing what they're doing, you could very much put Dak Prescott in that MVP class. He's not the one playing defense. If Dallas had any kind of defense, they would be much better than they are. You're seeing it right there. Number 1 ranked offense. They're averaging 394 yards a game, 119 rushing, 275 in the air. The problem is the defense gives up 255 yards passing and 123 yards rushing. So their defense has been the major issue there, but their offense is certainly electric-like. They're third. I can't believe this is third, Tony, at 29 points per game. That's third.
And they're 6-6
and they're higher. And who's Rams? Maybe the Rams.
Rams. It's got to be the Rams.
There's some
and they're 6-6-1.
Yeah, I know. That's all defense. It's all, look at that. I mean, their defense gives up more points than their offense scores. Their defense gives up 29.7 points a game. Their offense is scoring 29.3, and one's 31st, the other one's top 3. And the Vikings, I mean, we know what the Vikings' problem's been all year. They're pitiful on offense, 19.6 points per game.
We know who to blame for that too. So
yeah, we certainly know who's to blame. So the numbers are out there. We know we've talked about it. They've got to run the ball. They've got to set JJ up. We'll talk about that in our big three in a moment, or we'll do that right now, actually. You get pressure on Dak. I know he's done really well against the blitz, but they have to, Tony. They have to create turnovers, right? That's the Vikings thing. When the Vikings get turnovers and lead in the plus-minus category during a game, in their last 38 contests, they're 34-4. So they've got to figure out, I mean, Flores has got a tough decision. Do I come after Dak Prescott when he destroys the blitz? And how am I stopping Pickens and CeeDee Lamb? You got to take one out. Who's that going to be? Pickens? Looks like you can take Pickens out in the game. You just got to irritate him early in the game.
All you got to do is frustrate him. You frustrate Pickens,
play
he's
a little
out.
physical with him. Maybe get him frustrated, taking a penalty.
Now, here's the thing, though. CeeDee Lamb is in concussion protocol. I'm sure he's going to play, but he is in concussion protocol.
So he's going to be a little weary, maybe, that takes one of the – but, as I said before, the guy to watch, and he's just terrific, is Jake Ferguson. I mean, this guy's sneaky good, the Cowboys tight end. He's their red zone target. He's got 7 touchdowns on the year. So containing the high-powered throwing – of the Dallas Cowboys, getting pressure on Dak, run the ball with Aaron Jones Sr., who owns the Cowboys. Is there anything I'm missing, Tony, like something you want to add to your own big three? Obviously control Javonte Williams. I mean, he can beat you single-handedly, Javonte. He's at a one.
Put it this way, you control Javonte, that basically makes it that puts it in your strength, which is pass defense.
Right. Which
makes them have to throw. Here's the thing, though. The Vikings got to play ball control.
They got to run it, control the clock, keep Dallas off the field.
Run the ball. And I'll tell you what, the Vikings are going to have success running the ball. We're going to have to see if KOC cannot beat the urge to throw a 30-yard bomb on 1st and 10 from his 45.
Yeah, keep it simple, dummy.
Keep it simple.
He's going to call the 20. He's going to have JJ take a shot.
Here's the thing. We know Justin's going to be double covered.
Yes.
So they're gonna leave single coverage on Addison, which I don't think is a good thing.
No.
And they're gonna leave single coverage on Hawkinson for sure.
And Hawk had last 2 games have been pretty good for TJ. It was more like himself.
We have tight ends, so
Nathan, it could be Jetta's breakout game. I mean, it could be. I mean, it depends on what Dallas is going to try to do. Their secondary
Dallas' secondary is not very good.
No, they were showing like the cushion that they leave. I mean, heck, I would just drop back and just throw it right out there. They don't play up in anyone's face.
That's why
receiving screens. Yeah,
and that's why I said KLC is not going to be able to help himself, especially if they're playing that cushy zone.
He's going to throw the.
He's going to throw.
We know he's going to.
Yeah, he can't help it.
AJ doesn't get intercepted there, right? I mean. That's what we gotta hope happens. I mean, if I showed you these stats, Tony, before we get into our predictions and final thoughts, I mean, Dak Prescott's got a 100.2 quarterback rating. He's only been sacked 22 times, which is actually pretty good through 13 games, excuse me. He's almost thrown for 4,000 yards, 26 TDs, 10 interceptions. I know people. I mean, it's kind of unfair, right? They kind of call Dak Prescott the Kirk Cousins of the NFC East division, because Dak just seemingly has not been able to take his team, whether that's right or wrong. I mean, you can see this is obviously his defense that's been the problem all year, 31st overall. But you look at these stats. I mean, this Cowboy team should be at least have 9 wins. I mean, George Pickens, 78 receptions. 1,178 yards, 8 TDs. Jake Ferguson, 7 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, who's had an off year because of injury, still has 57 receptions for 865 yards.
So I'm going to put this out there, Eric.
Yeah.
Everything you just said. Who do we say that about when they were here?
Yeah. We said that about our team.
Now, now you see.
Stats
He can't win a playoff game. Stats don't mean shit.
No, and you got to have a balance.
He can't, and he's been in the postseason more than Kirk.
Yeah, he has been.
And he cannot win. I think he's lost to Green Bay twice, hasn't he?
They cannot win. Even
No.
the game when we just mentioned against the Packers, when they were, I think, 7 or 8 point favorites, they got blown out. Packers blew it. Jordan Love went in there, and Aaron Jones ran through him, around him, caught through him. It was
Didn't they lose one? Aaron Rodgers' last playoff game there.
Yes.
He came from behind.
Yes.
So he's lost to Green Bay's his kryptonite.
Green Bay's his kryptonite. Yeah, this is kryptonite. So, and if they get in, I mean, depending where Green Bay ends up, they might be playing.
They're going to play Green Bay again, most likely.
All right, so now it's time. Let's get to first our fondest memories, then Tony, your final thoughts and predictions. I just want to do some quick predictions from our page. Thank you for participating. Brian, it cuts like a knife. Adams, 26-19 Vikings. A lot of positivity here. Our buddy Ryan J. Peterson, Vikings 21-17 over America's trash. Yeah, we kind of hate the Cowboys too. Mark Balk, Vikings 28-24, and Jennifer Olson chimes in of Vikings 21-17. No doubt, Mary, defense wins championships. Your fondest memory, Tony? My favorite game as a Viking. I tried to cut up a highlight. I was going to play it when Darren Nelson ran 24 yards in overtime. It was the second big touchdown run of the game. Vikings beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, 44-38. Tom Kramer had a couple touchdowns, Anthony Carter. But it's something about Thanksgiving in these two teams. I mean, 98, the crowning of Randy Moss with his 3 touchdowns, and the Vikings and Cowboys, another shootout of epic proportions. That was also a great game. But, you know, you can look at the playoff games. The Vikings beat them twice in the playoffs. Most recently, we can go back to when Fran beat them when they weren't supposed to beat the Cowboys. But 99, the wild card game in 99 when they pounded the Cowboys. And then 2009, they beat the Cowboys 34-3, which was one of my favorite. Nathan likes
it's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, was what, the Brett Favre when they just completely that game.
Well, yeah, that's a game. That is a game where they had Ray Edwards looking like Carl Eller.
Yeah,
he had 3 sacks that game, which tied a playoff record set by Carl Eller against the Cowboys in '75.
Romo had people coming at him that whole. I mean, you never felt in that game that there was any other outcome, and that's the nice thing in the playoffs. You know your team's going to win right from the start to the finish, and that game was like what you want every Sunday, right? So, your fondest memory, or your one that hurts the most. I know everyone's going to bring up the Drew Pearson Hail Mary. Obviously, was a push off on Norm Wright. But what is like your most disappointing game, maybe, or your fondest memory between these two teams? And then we'll get into our predictions and final thoughts.
Most disappointing is December 28th, 1975.
Yeah.
That's the most disappointing. The most positive one besides the 09 one. I do remember watching when they played the Cowboys in that 73 championship game, and they were heavy underdogs.
Yes. I kind of remember that vaguely, like a little
The Cowboys were already prepping. They were already prepared to get ready for the Super Bowl. They already had it won. So when the Vikings went in there, the Vikings literally kicked their ass.
They did.
And it was Fran
Parkin. There's a picture. It was like this.
Yeah, and it was Fran that did it. I mean, I want to say the Cowboys were missing 2 studs. Bob Lilly didn't play, and I think Calvin Hill didn't play.
Defensive players of all time. It doesn't get enough love in Cowboys lore. I mean, the Cowboys were a team. I grew up though. I did like the Cowboys. In all honesty, I loved Staubach. I loved Tom Landry, the flex offense, Ed Too Tall Jones.
Here's my thing. Who the hell called them America's team? I forget who said it, but I think it was somebody said.
But you know what? They were always on. Like the Cowboys were on TV
because they had the 3 o'clock.
I mean, we all know who's really America's team.
Oh, stop.
No, it's not the Patriots either.
Your mic is
go Pats. Drake May.
I mean, there was a time. I mean, they were like the one team. You got ratings. They were always on Thanksgiving.
You know what though? They weren't always on Thanksgiving. I remember watching a Thanksgiving where they didn't play. It was actually Buffalo and St. Louis. St. Louis used to play on Thanksgiving all the time. Wow. And then all of a sudden, the Cowboys got the Thanksgiving Day game. But for a time there,
I remember one Thanksgiving game. Someone by the name of Clint Longley
Yeah.
became a hero to all Cowboy fans against the mighty Washington.
And then he punched the god known as Roger Staubach and was out of a job.
It was out of, well, that's what happens. You do
You
not
just
punch
don't
America's
punch
quarterback.
Roger Staubach.
Yeah, Mary, I get it. I live in Texas and I can't stand it. I can't anymore. I've grown to hate the Cowboys. This game is why it's so important, I think, for them to win, Tony. So I want to know what your prediction is and then any final thoughts before we wrap this up.
Well, like we said before, Minnesota's got to play ball control. I can see us winning this game except for one person and one person only.
The head coach.
Yep.
Can't help himself.
Yep. And that is why I'm going with Dallas 24-21 on a last-second field goal.
I don't know why I feel this way. Maybe because it's Scott Novak is the referee and the Vikings have won down in Big D 3 straight times, and seemingly for whatever reason things go their way when they play there. Obviously, they don't do well when they're in Minnesota against the Cowboys, but I think the Vikings are going to end the Cowboys' winning streak against them, and I think the Vikings are going to win in dramatic fashion. I said, I joked around. I was hoping they were going to win 58-2, but that's just me joking around on the Facebook page. I hope
you know what though, we owe them an ass kicking because they came up here and beat us 40-3
on Sunday, 58-2, and JJ throws 4 touchdown passes. Aaron Jones Sr. is going to have over 100 yards. KOC is going to be biting his nails. He's going to just manage not to throw too many bombs down the field that will be intercepted. And the Minnesota Vikings will win 27-26. On a Will Reichard late field goal.
Now let me preface my pick. I hope to God I'm wrong.
Yes,
but
I know you hate the Cowboys more than I do, and I can't
stand.
They're up there with the Packers, Tony.
Yeah.
They're up there with the Packers. I
got more respect for the Packers than I do the Cowboys, and that tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah,
but I'm sorry. I am not in the KLC fan club. Never will be in the KLC fan club. And I just see this as one of those games where KLC cannot help himself.
Yeah.
And revert back to his old. He's going to.
Plus, it's on NBC.
And it's a national television game.
He's going to want to do some trickery. And
yes.
He's not going to be able to hold back on
He's not going to be able to control himself.
Yeah.
So it's, you know what? I'm going to be cheering for this team, but if I was a betting man, my money would be on Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you took away my allegiance, in all honesty, the Cowboys probably should win this game. I mean, I don't know how the Vikings are going to stop the high-octane offense, but then again, the Cowboys' defense can't stop anybody either. So it's just a matter.
You stop the Cowboys by playing ball control. Plain and simple.
But our coaches could be the reason why we don't win this game because he's not going to be able to control himself, and that could be. But honestly, and my last words on this show, and then we're going to wish you goodbye, and we'll come back on Sunday and wrap up the Sunday night game from AT&T Field. Is I almost feel, Tony, that the Cowboys and Vikings should play like every year, like once, because it does bring back so many memories, good and bad, obviously. But these two teams were arguably the two biggest powerhouses in the NFC in the 70s. There's no question. The Rams were in there. Washington would have a year where they would pop up and do some great things. But it was really the Vikings and Cowboys that dominated the landscape in the NFC for quite a while. That went on to Super Bowls. Obviously, the Vikings did not have any luck. Cowboys did. But they're both awesome teams of historical content. I kind of almost wish that they played every year because it makes – I don't care what the records are. You see that star, you just see them uniforms, and all you want to do is kick their ass and to make sure that the purple finishes with 1 point or more, hopefully a blowout, more so than the Cowboys do when they play. It's just something exciting about it, right? It's got one of those feels. Like,
well, the
Rams used to have it. They don't have it anymore. The Vikings and Rams used to have it.
Technically, the Cowboys and Vikings came in at the same time. Cowboys started 60, Vikings 61. Cowboys started winning in 66. They're all of a sudden in the NFL championship. Minnesota wins an NFL championship in 69. They actually won one before the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's
And the
amazing.
Cowboys have been to
Forget
2.
about that. Where's that trophy, by the way?
Oh, it's sitting in Green Bay's Hall of Fame.
It's at the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but I mean, for the
Once-
70s, if you think about the 1970s, you had 6 teams that were constantly winners in three in each conference. In the AFC was usually Miami, Denver, and Oakland.
Yeah.
In the
And then
NFC,
and then Pittsburgh came along.
in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
In the NFC, it was Dallas, Minnesota, and the Rams.
Yeah.
Every
and
year.
The Redskins came along a little later.
Maybe
Yeah.
you get the Redskins or the Cardinals
That's
or the
it.
Niners.
Yeah, but that's
One
it.
year
San
you got the
Francisco
Bears and
was okay.
Packers.
San Francisco was okay, but they didn't ascend until late in the late 70s.
Well, San Francisco,
80s.
what happened was they got old.
Yeah, John Brody and that
Brody, they got old, and Steve Spurrier couldn't hack it, so they ended up getting Norm Snead, and that was even worse.
He was a bust in the end.
Then they got Jim Plunkett, and that was even worse.
Yeah,
I mean,
know.
so they had a damn good defense, but I mean,
they did.
Minnesota and Dallas, just the rivalry, just the history, and
it has a bigger feel to it, right? Whenever you see these, and it's why, thank you NBC, that they didn't flex it because
there's always been bad blood between the Vikings and Cowboys. And it was always in the front office. And that 73 playoff game started it by the Cowboys not giving us any respect. And then from
Grant
then,
say something about that. Grant was not a big fan of Tom Landry.
Grant wasn't a big fan of it, but then here's what happened. The next year, Tex Schramm got back at the Vikings. You know that whole 12 men in a huddle thing?
Yeah.
Here's how Tex Schramm got back at it. In defensive huddles for a time there, Bud would have 14 guys in the huddle. When they broke the huddle, there's 14 guys on the field, but he kept 3 close to the sideline. So when the offense broke the huddle, they didn't know what personnel was going to be out there, and that's what beat them in 73. And Tex Schramm and Landry bitched about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that changed, and they changed that rule in, I think, 75 or 76.
Interesting.
And then getting back at them, I mean, there's been a whole conspiracy about the whole push-off thing, but there's always been that tension with these two teams. And then the Herschel Walker trade did not help anything at all.
It didn't help because then we gave them their second dynasty.
So there's that. But I mean, if we had a rivalry, I mean, yeah, outside of our division, the Rams would be one, but that was from the 70s.
It doesn't feel the same. Like the Rams Vikings just doesn't.
The Rams don't feel the same.
I know it was. I mean, the fearsome foursome versus the Purple People Eaters. You know, they should too, Nathan. Jerry Burns.
Yeah, they don't.
Offense.
Bill Walsh even gave Jerry Burns credit for that.
Yes, he did. I mean, the Vikings were ahead of the curve as far as throwing to their running backs. They were ahead of the curve before the 49ers.
Well, put it this way, you couldn't play for Bud Grant unless, if you're a running back, you couldn't play for Bud Grant unless you could catch.
They always had these running backs that could catch the football. But Foreman was amazing at it. Tony Galbraith, another guy. They just had guys that just
Ricky Young couldn't. Ricky Young had to be
Ricky Young was a better.
Ricky Young had to be one of the slowest Vikings to ever play the game, but he could catch the ball.
Exactly. Oh, Mike Lynn's a terrible name to bring up there, Nathan. But anyway, for Tony Bell, for Quality Control, yours truly, we wish you a wonderful rest of your week. I know everyone is getting close to the holidays. Got to get them Christmas presents. The Christmas present I want is a big win on Sunday over the Dallas Cowboys.
Also, I want to put this out there. If you live up here in the northern part of the country, please stay warm because
get your winter gear.
Temperature is going to drop. So
if it's minus 20 in Chicago, Minneapolis isn't too far away. I'm guessing it won't be much nicer there in the land of 1,000 lakes. So. As long as isn't it the wind that's the most devastating of it though, because the wind is what just intensifies it 10 times.
Yeah. It could if it's windy out, we're
stay
screwed.
Inside and watch the game bundled up with some hot cocoa. Hopefully the Vikings take care of business, and we'll be happy when we join you next Sunday night late to wrap up the Cowboys and Vikings from Dallas. Tony Bell, Quality Control, yours truly. What do we say as we say goodbye?
Skol.
Skol.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back after the game on Sunday for our post-game wrap-up show. Stay tuned to our page for all breaking Vikings news. And don't forget, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Skol! Thanks for watching. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button on our YouTube channel and follow us on our Facebook group page too.